Legendary singer Barry Manilow revealing tonight he's been diagnosed with lung cancer. The 82-year-old sharing the revelation to fans on social media. Manilow putting his concerts on pause and preparing for surgery.
At 82, Barry Manilow's story is not just about the glittering lights of fame. It is a life full of heartbreak, resilience, and quiet sorrow that most people never see. Behind the soaring hits and sold-out arenas are struggles, lost moments, and personal battles that time has not made easier. What makes his journey both inspiring and deeply sad is how the man who brought joy to millions has faced almost unimaginable challenges. Today, we look closer at Barry Manilow's life, revealing a truth that is both moving and heartbreaking. A life defined by music. Few names in the world of music carry the weight, history, and sheer cultural impact that Barry Manilow does. From the glittering lights and unforgettable rhythms of Copacabana to the deeply personal, soul-stirring anthem. I Write the Songs, Manilow has provided the soundtrack to countless lives, spanning generations. His music is more than just melodies and lyrics. It is memory, emotion, and connection wrapped into every note. While awards came naturally, Emmys, Grammys, Tonys, and every accolade a performer could dream of, these honors only scratched the surface of what made him extraordinary. His real gift wasn't the trophies, the sold-out arenas, or the worldwide recognition. It was the rare ability to reach directly into the hearts of listeners, to make them feel seen, understood, and part of something larger than themselves. For over 50 years, Manilow has lived life on the stage, whether under the glow of massive arena lights or in more intimate venues where every breath, every chord, and every pause mattered. He mastered the technical, yes, the perfect pitch, the timing, the crescendos, but he also mastered the emotional. Each performance was more than music. It was storytelling. Fans could recite lyrics word for word, belt out choruses, and even mimic the piano riffs. But behind those moments of shared joy was a lifetime of discipline, sacrifice, and relentless commitment. The audience saw the magic, the effortless charm, the energy that seemed endless. But they rarely glimpsed the countless hours of practice, the quiet frustrations, the moments of doubt, or the physical toll of decades on the road. Manilow's career wasn't simply about longevity. It was about devotion, about a love affair with music that refused to fade even in the face of changing trends, new genres, and the passage of time. It was about understanding that every note mattered, that every song could hold someone's memory, someone's heartbreak, or someone's joy. Behind the glamour, there were routines of preparation, strict vocal exercises, rehearsals that stretched late into the night, and a mind constantly turning over arrangements, lyrics, and harmonies. For Manilow, performing was never just a job. It was a calling. His connection to music was relentless, a force that demanded as much from him as it gave to the millions who grew up, laughed, cried, and danced to his songs. In the end, Barry Manilow's real legacy goes far beyond Grammys, sold-out arenas, or chart-topping hits. It lies in the emotions he awakened, the unforgettable memories he helped create, and the way his music wove itself into the very fabric of our lives. Every note, every lyric, became more than a song. It was an experience, a story shared. His unwavering devotion, tireless discipline, and immense heart transformed every performance into something deeply personal, making each listener feel like they weren't just hearing music, but truly living it. Manilow has captivated fans worldwide with his unique songs for over half a century, consistently staying true to his iconic style. But what does this consistency demand from him in return? And could he ever defy his body's health limits while maintaining such high-level performances. Now, let's unravel the hidden struggles of Barry Manilow. Beyond the applause. Even legends are not immune to battles the public never sees. Beneath the thunderous applause, sparkling lights, and countless accolades, Barry Manilow carried burdens few could imagine. Every tour, every residency, every sold-out performance demanded more than talent. It demanded endurance, stamina, and sheer willpower. Performing night after night, traveling city to city, and keeping up with the grueling pace of a music career built over decades took a toll, both physically and emotionally. Long hours, sleepless nights, and relentless schedules became routine. And yet, through it all, Barry kept smiling, kept connecting with audiences, and kept giving everything he had to every note, every lyric, every performance. For fans, the image was effortless, the charming, polished, and ever-energetic performer who seemed to glide across the stage without a care. What few could see were the hidden costs. Years of constant travel left muscles aching, voices strained, and bodies tired beyond measure. The mind, too, bore the strain, remembering lyrics, perfecting arrangements, engaging with fans, and maintaining the precision that had defined a career lasting over half a century. Exhaustion became familiar, yet Barry pushed forward, fueled by passion, love for music, and a desire to connect with those who found joy, solace, or escape in his songs. Every standing ovation was earned through invisible hours of preparation, dedication, and sacrifice. Just when it seemed Barry Manilow had faced his toughest battles, the pressure of chart-topping hits, critical reviews, and maintaining a legendary career spanning decades, life threw an entirely new challenge his way. No stage, no applause, no record-breaking performance could prepare him for what came next, a fight for his very health. After years of triumph, adoration, and accolades, the music icon now confronted a struggle far removed from the spotlight, one that demanded a courage unlike any before, testing his strength, patience, and resilience in ways only the bravest can understand. This challenge was deeply personal, unseen, and profoundly human. It reminded the world that no matter how iconic a career or how beloved a performer, the body and heart can reach limits that fans may never witness. For Barry Manilow, whose life was built on endurance, passion, and connecting with millions through music, this became a battle unlike any other, a test where the stakes weren't applause, awards, or sold-out arenas, but survival itself. Every moment demanded resilience, courage, and the determination to keep living, performing, and creating, despite the heartbreak of facing an unpredictable, relentless illness. In the quiet moments behind the music, Barry confronted this new reality with the same dedication, determination, and heart that had fueled a lifetime of performances. Even legends face battles beyond the stage, and for Barry Manilow, the greatest fight of all was only just beginning. Beyond the spotlight, Barry endured his share of physical and emotional strain. But what price will Manilow pay for his consistency? Could he have prepared for such? And how costly would it have been? Now, let's delve into the first signs that showed that something was wrong. When the spotlight fades, it began quietly, almost imperceptibly. What started as a lingering bout of bronchitis stretched week after week, refusing to fully lift. Even after Barry Manilow returned to the stage, performing for his fans with the energy and precision that had become his trademark, his doctors urged caution. They insisted on further tests, scans, and evaluations to make sure that everything truly was okay. At first, It seemed routine, a precaution, perhaps, a way to be thorough. But the results would deliver a blow that would change the rhythm of his life entirely. Scans uncovered a small cancerous spot on Barry Manilow's lung. Thankfully, it was caught early, but the impact was immediate and profound. In an instant, the tours, rehearsals, and residencies that had shaped decades of his life had to pause. A man whose world had always revolved around the stage, the fans, and the rhythm of performance was suddenly forced into a reality far removed from applause and spotlights. The stage that once felt like home became a reminder of uncertainty, testing not only his body but his patience, resilience, and the very heart of his artistry. Surgery became inevitable. Though doctors were optimistic, the procedures and recovery demanded time, patience, and care. The calendar that had once been filled with meticulously planned performances now read healing. Every note, every song, every carefully timed cue was temporarily paused. Fans who had long celebrated his ability to deliver flawless shows would have to wait. Barry, who had spent decades mastering the art of performance, controlling every breath, every chord, every emotion, was now asked to surrender control, to trust in the slow and steady process of recovery. For a performer who had grown comfortable commanding the spotlight, this new role was profoundly unfamiliar. Instead of preparing audiences, he was preparing himself. Instead of rehearsing songs, he was relearning patience. Instead of charting tour routes and scheduling residencies, he was navigating hospital visits, recovery protocols, and the small victories that marked each step of healing. It was a lesson in humility, resilience, and self-care, wrapped in the quiet uncertainty of a life interrupted. Even someone like Barry Manilow, whose name evokes show-stopping performances and decades of triumph, discovered that mastery of the stage did not translate to mastery over the body's fragility. For the first time, he was forced to confront limits that could not be overcome with talent, charm, or determination alone. And yet, even in this pause, there was hope. Hope that the same dedication, discipline, and heart that carried him through countless performances could guide him through the most personal performance of all, the slow, deliberate, and courageous path back to health. Manilow had a small cancerous spot on his lung, a price for the voice that has entertained the world for decades. But what is the full extent of the illness? Will it still allow him to perform as before, or will it dictate how he sings from now on? Let's find out. Confronting the limits of the body, Barry Manilow had spent a lifetime defined by endurance. For decades, he had traveled from city to city, city lights flashing past tour buses, performing night after night with a voice that seemed endless and energy that never wavered. His fans came to expect perfection, charisma, and charm. But behind every smile and every note was a man who had learned to push himself past fatigue, past pain, past the limits most of us would never know. Endurance wasn't just a skill for Barry. It was part of his identity. But after surgery, reality hit him in ways that rehearsals, fans, or accolades never had. The small lung cancer spot removed by skilled hands had left its mark, and the recovery process was far from simple. Even with tireless effort, daily exercises, treadmill sessions, and stamina-building routines, Barry found himself struggling in ways that were almost unimaginable for someone so accustomed to commanding the stage. Singing 3 songs in a row became a challenge, a reminder that the body, no matter how disciplined, can be fragile. His surgeon's quiet, measured assessment was devastating in its clarity. There was no room for debate, no loophole to bend the rules of biology. A 90-minute arena show, The kind of performance Barry had delivered countless times over decades was simply impossible. The words hung in the air, heavier than any ovation he had ever received, forcing him to confront a truth that had never touched his world before. For a performer whose identity had been inseparable from the spotlight, the hardest part wasn't canceling dates, refunds, or adjusting schedules. It was acknowledging that his heart wanted to return before his body could guarantee it. The farewell tour, which had been planned as a celebration of decades of triumph, music, and connection, suddenly transformed into something more intimate, more profound. It became a lesson in humility, learning to accept limits even when it's painful. It became a lesson in patience, allowing time to heal instead of forcing action. And it became a lesson in respect for the fragility of life, for the delicate balance between ambition and well-being. Every canceled show, every postponed date, carried weight far beyond logistics. Each was a small, quiet surrender, a recognition that even legends are not invincible. For Barry, the stage would always be home, but for now, home meant recovery, rest, and rebuilding. In stepping back, he demonstrated a truth that transcends fame. Endurance is not just measured by what you can perform, but by the grace, patience, and courage you show when life forces you to pause. And in that pause, a performer's greatest act of resilience is often unseen, felt more deeply by those who know the dedication, discipline, and heart it takes to rise again. Manilow's doctor advised him to step away from singing for the time being to fully recover from the illness. But will he use this advice as an excuse to call it quits? Or is he preparing for a grand return to the stage? Now, let's uncover how Barry Manilow turned lung cancer into an inspiring story of strength, resilience, and determination. Choosing the stage instead of fear. Yet, even in the face of such a daunting challenge, Barry Manilow refused to surrender. The performer who had spent decades commanding stages, filling arenas, and connecting with millions wasn't about to let a cancer diagnosis define the final act of his career. He apologized to fans, acknowledging the heartbreak of postponed shows and canceled performances, but he also made a promise, a vow that resonated far beyond the concert halls. When he returned, he would come back fully, unflinching, uncompromised, bringing every ounce of his energy, heart, and artistry to the stage once more. What truly set Barry Manilow apart wasn't just his legendary determination, but the way he confronted one of life's most daunting challenges. He chose to speak openly about his battle, giving fans a rare glimpse into a journey most would hide. Courage, he revealed, isn't pretending everything is fine. It's facing reality honestly, recognizing your limits, yet refusing to let them define you. Every candid word, every heartfelt reflection became a lesson not only for fans, but for fellow performers. True strength isn't measured by endurance alone. It's found in vulnerability, honesty, and the bravery to keep moving forward despite fear. Returning to rehearsals was a statement in itself. Every piano chord he struck, every note he practiced, every step back onto the stage after surgery was more than preparation. It was defiance. Each new tour date he added carried symbolism. Life does not end with a diagnosis, and passion need not vanish in the face of uncertainty. Audiences who watched him perform after surgery didn't just see a legendary entertainer. They witnessed resilience incarnate. Every song sung was a testament to the human spirit's ability to endure. Every standing ovation, a recognition of courage intertwined with artistry. But Barry's openness carried even greater significance beyond his own career. By sharing his journey, He challenged the stigma surrounding lung cancer, a disease often shrouded in misunderstanding, judgment, and fear. He reminded fans that anyone, regardless of lifestyle or fame, can be affected, and that early detection can be life-saving. His transparency encouraged others to pay attention to their bodies, to speak up about symptoms, and to seek help without shame. In doing so, Barry turned his personal struggle into a broader message of hope, awareness, and empowerment. Ultimately, his return to the stage after surgery became more than a performance. It became a story of triumph over adversity. Through honesty, determination, and unwavering love for music, Barry Manilow showed that a life devoted to art, even when interrupted by illness, can continue to inspire, uplift, and leave an indelible mark. In facing his challenges publicly, he transformed personal hardship into collective courage, proving that the human spirit can shine brightest when tested most. Despite the challenges and his doctor's advice, Manilow vowed to return to the stage. But what does this determination reveal about him? And can he truly make a comeback, given the illness and his age? Now, let's explore a legacy beyond the songs. More than music. At 82, Barry Manilow's legacy extends far beyond the unforgettable songs that made him a global icon. From the dazzling rhythms of Copacabana to the timeless anthem I Write the Songs, his music has shaped generations. Yet now, his story carries a weight far greater than melodies or sold-out concerts. It is a story of courage experienced in real time. Fans who have followed him for decades are witnessing something even more profound than music: the raw strength of a man facing illness with honesty, the resilience to keep moving forward, and the unwavering spirit of a true legend. For an artist whose life was once measured by standing ovations, Grammy Awards, and sold-out arenas, these symbols of success have taken on deeper meaning. Fame and acclaim are still part of his story, but they are now accompanied by gratitude for health, patience in recovery, and the humility of facing human fragility head-on. Each postponed concert, every canceled arena show, has transformed from disappointment into a quiet act of purpose, a reminder that life and art requires care, attention, and respect for one's limits. Even in moments when the stage was empty, Barry found ways to shine. Recovery has not been a simple process. Surgery, therapy, and the long wait to regain stamina demanded discipline and fortitude. Yet, through the pain, uncertainty, and physical setbacks, he has demonstrated a powerful truth. Life after illness can still be vibrant, fulfilling, and meaningful. Rehearsals, small studio sessions, and cautious returns to performance became more than preparation. They became celebrations of resilience. With each note he sings, Barry reminds us that the human spirit is capable of continuing to create, inspire, and connect, even when faced with challenges that might have once seemed insurmountable. Equally remarkable is Barry Manilow's courage in speaking openly about his lung cancer, the surgery he endured, and the slow, demanding path of recovery. By sharing his personal struggle, he has transformed a private battle into a lesson in resilience and hope for millions. His honesty proves that illness is never something to hide, that vulnerability can coexist with incredible strength, and that speaking our truths can inspire others to face their own challenges bravely. Through this openness, he educates, comforts, and uplifts those who feel alone in their health struggles, showing that healing, adaptation, and even joy remain possible. Ultimately, Barry Manilow's story today is not merely about a career defined by hits and accolades. It is about resilience in the face of adversity, the beauty of hope even in difficult circumstances, and the enduring power of giving one's gifts despite life's setbacks. Every rehearsal, every public statement, every carefully measured return to the stage is a testament to his belief that purpose and passion do not vanish because of illness. His journey reminds us that courage is not the absence of fear, but the choice to continue moving forward. Barry Manilow is proving once again that even in the most heartbreaking moments, life can remain rich, inspiring, and full of meaning. So, what do you think about the heartbreaking struggle of Barry Manilow? Will he ever make it back to the stage? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe.